and welcome to the eCommerce Spotlight, a podcast where we discuss all things e-commerce related, from fear of missing out to yet another case of buyer's remorse. My name is Diana, and today Yohan Loyer from Gorgias has decided to join us to talk about time. More precisely, ways to reduce customer service response time. Hi, Johan. How are you today?
Hey, Dana, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure being here and taking part in the podcast with you today.
Well, likewise, I'm so happy that we could finally meet and talk about this. Obviously, the pleasure's all mine here. Um, so, just before we dive into this, I would like to ask you a couple of questions. And could you tell our listeners a little bit about your work, your position, and Gorgeous? Just a little bit of things about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Johan. I'm the strategic partner manager here at Gorgias. So I'm in charge of the relationship with our e-commerce and marketing agencies. And here at Gorgias, we do customer service for e-commerce. So we are the number one customer service solution designed specifically for e-commerce. So we work with more than 10,000 merchants. Most of them are doing business online. And our goal is to help them provide great customer service and turn customer service into a revenue generator. So we help them centralizing all their channels in one place, making sure that they can have some good processes in place and delight their customers. And my role is to make sure that our agency partners are up to date with what's happening with Gorgeous, that they know how to position it for their customers, and ultimately that will help the brands grow through customer service.
Okay, that's cool. And how long have you now been working with Gorgeous?
So it's been a bit more than a year and a half, almost 2 years now, and I actually started as the customer success manager for our biggest customers in Europe. So I was the main point of contact for our customers to set up Gorgeous, make the most out of it, review and optimize the account. So I know the platform pretty well, and my goal today is also to share some concrete tips and examples and use cases so that the audience gets some value out of it.
Great, great. All right, so maybe to start off, I wanted to ask your opinion about the current state of e-commerce and in general customer experience. In your opinion, so what do you think? Is it getting better? Is it getting more effective? Is it getting more costly? What do you think is changing?
Yeah, so you mentioned getting more costly. So what we're seeing right now is that the acquisition of new customers is getting more costly, whether it is marketing, but also just the margins in general are decreasing because it's now more expensive to target customers because of the GDPR, because of the iOS updates, the cookies, all these kind of things. So the return on ad spend, it's still great, but it's decreasing compared to the last few years. So it's more expensive for brands to acquire new customers. But also, we have an increase in the primary resources and goods, in the shipping costs. So a lot of things are increasing, and the profit margins of brands are decreasing. So what we see is that it's becoming more and more important for brands to be competitive, to provide a great customer experience, and also with what happened over the last few years with COVID, a lot of businesses moving online, a lot of people shopping exclusively online with some brands, the expectations really shifted, and customers and consumers now have high expectations in terms of the experience that they're getting from brands, and how they're being treated when they reach out to brands. So what I'm seeing is that customer experience and customer service is now being really central to the strategy of companies. It's actually one way to differentiate themselves from other brands is providing this exceptional experience to customers. So cost of acquisitions are rising. It's becoming increasingly important to provide a great experience for customers. And yeah, hopefully we can talk about some tips and use cases today on how to do this in 2022 and beyond.
Yeah, and customers are becoming more demanding, I see for myself.
Yeah, of course.
All right. So, okay, maybe you can tell me first, how long is too long currently for a customer service response? What is the, in your opinion, ideal response time? And does it depend on the industry? Let's say maybe in some industries longer response times are more acceptable, and in some mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that we need to take into consideration when we think about this. But what I can tell you is that according to some research, the average response time to respond to customer service requests is about 12 hours and 10 minutes. But I think what is too long depends also on what is being asked and who is asking about it and on which channel. So as you mentioned, it could be different from one industry to another. I mean, random example, but someone asking about clothing versus someone about asking about COVID test, you might want to get back to them quickly if they ask about COVID, but you may be able to wait a little bit more for clothing. It also depends. Is it a VIP customer reaching out that spent a lot of money with you already and they're more likely to convert? Is it a prospect asking a pre-sale question? Is it someone asking, where is my order? Is it someone asking something by email or by chat? Because there's kind of different expectations. So it really depends on who is speaking to the brand on which channel. But the average is about 12 hours. I think the smaller the response time and resolution time, the better for brands. I'll be sharing some examples and some more data, but 46% of customers expect companies to respond in less than 4 hours. 90% of customers say that an immediate response to a customer service question is important or very important. We have 40% of millennials who are the decision makers and buyers today that would wait only 60 minutes before trying to contact brands on another channel after not getting an answer within the first 60 minutes. So we really have a shift in expectations from consumers. So they expect brands to get back to them quickly. So I think the quicker you can do that, the better. Even now, for example, if we're at the end of the year, we have a lot of people reaching out with Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas. If they're asking you a question and they're also asking the same question to your competition, you're more likely to make the sale if you get back to customers very quickly. So I would say that's aiming to just having a response time shorter than what you currently have as a brand should be your objective. But really, what we're seeing, like the best in class brands out of the 10,000 customers that we have at Gorgias, would get back to customers within an hour, and the resolution time would be between 5 and 6 hours.
Oh, so maybe you can tell me a little bit more how some tip or a way how I could work on decreasing my response time and making it a little bit more effective.
Yeah, sure. So I think there's a whole mindset shift to adopt as well, in the sense that customer service is definitely a great way for brands to bring more sales and generate more revenue. And sometimes the customer service team are just understaffed. There's not enough people. So one first step would be to centralize the communication channels in one place. So if you're a brand, you may have an email address for support, you may have a live chat, you may have a Facebook page, Instagram page, a phone number, SMS, WhatsApp, all kinds of channels that customers can use to reach out. And we know that customers increasingly use more and more channels to contact their brands. Like personally, if I don't get an answer by email within a day or two, I know that I'm more likely will get an answer on Messenger or Twitter faster, for example. So we have more and more people reaching out on those channels. And if, let's say, I contact a brand right now on Instagram DMs, they get back to me within a few minutes. Next time, I'll contact them on this channel. So I think for brands, it's useful to centralize all the channels in one place to have visibility on, okay, we have someone sending us a message on chat, here on email, here on Facebook. Do we have a way to prioritize those requests based on the channel, but also based on what people are asking? Is it an urgent question? Is it a pre-sale question where if we get back to them quickly, they'll more likely convert into a sale? Is it someone asking, where is my order? So I think identifying the most common requests and prioritizing them based on what people are asking can be a big plus to get back to customers quickly when it matters for them and it matters for you in terms of how much revenue and customer satisfaction you can get out of it. Um, and to do that, it's really good to have templates for the most common requests. So let's say what people ask you the most is where is my order and returns and shipping questions. Then let's make sure that you have a template ready for these kind of common questions because you know they're going to come often and you can just use these templates not just to send it the way it is, but at least to have the basis of your answer that you can still customize later. But if you have a template for all of the most common things that people ask you, then of course it's going to be easier for you to get back to customers quickly. Um, so that's one thing. Another thing is using automation in general, but automation doesn't mean answering automatically. Automation could be tagging your support tickets based on what people are asking, based on the channel, based on the language, for example. It could be assigning tickets to certain team members based on the language or the question type. It could be having some auto replies, for example, having an autoresponder outside of business hours and during the weekends to manage expectations. It could be like a chatbot, but it could also be just simply an email when you get an email on the weekend to say, hey, we're sorry, we're out of the office right now. We'll get back to you on Monday, but in the meantime, here's our FAQ. And we could also go further and based on the keywords of the email of the customer, say, hey, you seem to be asking about a cancellation. Here's our help doc about cancellation, for example. But yeah, having a chatbot and deflecting some queries on chat could also be another thing to look into, depending on what kind of experience the brand wants to provide to their customers. But yeah, finding a way to automate some processes, to deflect some tickets, whether it is through an autoresponder or a chatbot, is a good one. And in general, making sure that the support team can be effective. Effective because they have all the data they need. So let's say you are an e-commerce merchant using like Shopify or Magento. Well, can your support team access the order and customer information of whoever is reaching out to you easily? Can they use variables from those platforms in the answers they send? For example, let's say I'm on Shopify, I have a Shopify customer asking me where is my order. Can I use a macro with the variables from Shopify that will say, hey, your order number, whatever, was shipped at this date. Here's the tracking link. Can I send that to the customer in 2 clicks? If I can do that, then it's going to save you a lot of time compared to going back and forth between the tools, copy and pasting the information. Connecting the different tools that you're using and making the data easily accessible for the support team is also a huge way to save some time. And I think just in general, combining different tools that you're using. If you're using a tool for customer loyalty or to handle returns and shipping, well, can you see the information from those tools in your customer support solution? If so, then your team will be more efficient. And when we are able to centralize the channels in one place, identify the most common questions, prioritize the answers based on the channel, the language, the type of query. If we have the automations in place, if we have the right macros, if we have a tool for self-service, then we are in a great position to save a lot of time for the support team so that they can then do things that will bring more value to the business, like building a relationship with one specific customer, being proactive, doing some upselling, cross-selling, these kind of things.
Well, as we know, there's a lot of those communication channels nowadays. So we have emails, phones, chats, social media. Different customers expect and maybe use different communication channels and have different preferences when it comes to those communication channels. Could you tell me a little bit more, like, does a certain channel attract a certain type of customer, or let's say, does it depend on the age, or is it a millennial, is it Gen Z, and like, which channel maybe people are more willing to wait for a response, and how does like it affect the time, the response time, and yeah.
So, first of all, in general and historically, email remains the most popular
Mm-hmm.
channel for customer service right now. But as you said, customers are reaching out on an increasing number of channels like chat and social media. If we take the data here at Gorgias, so we have more than 10,000 customers. about 81% of the tickets handled on Gorgias are email, about 11% are chat, and about 8% are social media and SMS. But what we are seeing is that it's a younger demographic that tends to use chat and social media more. Of course, things are changing for all kinds of demographics, but the younger generation, millennials, Gen Z, are more likely to engage on social media and chat just because that's what they're most used to. So, in terms of the response time, I think the expectations are different when reaching out to a brand on email and on chat. Like if I'm on a live chat on your website, I definitely expect a quick answer. As a matter of fact, 70% of customers expect to get help within 5 minutes or less on chat. And Shopify found that businesses that respond to a customer message within 5 minutes on chat are 70% more likely to make a sale. So, for example, on chat, it can be really key to generate more revenue to get back to customers quickly, and that's what they expect. For social media, I think it depends. Historically, brands were not very good at getting back to customers quickly on social media for like customer service related questions. But now we have some brands leading the way. For example, at Gorgeous, I work with some brands that have an average response time under 5 minutes, even for Instagram DMs and Messenger. So this is huge.
Wow.
And
I don't even
like
respond to my friends so quickly.
well, exactly. See, well, I mean, your friends will not pay you money when you answer them, right?
Yeah.
um, but some brands are doing that. And if you're a consumer and you're engaged with some brands on social media, they get back to you in a personalized way within minutes. Well, you're going to get used to it and you're going to expect that from other brands. And you're going to be frustrated when some other brands that you contact are not doing it. So there's definitely a shift in expectations where of course, email is in theory the channel where you can take the most time to get back to customers. But I would argue that it also depends on what people are asking and what kind of people are asking. If, let's say, you have a VIP customer that spent a lot of money with you that sends you an email, if you have a way to identify the email coming from someone that spent a lot with you already, well, maybe you want to prioritize that over a random DM from someone on social media or chat tickets that may not lead anywhere. So I think there's definitely some expectations and differences between channels, but I think more and more brands are paying attention to who is sending us a message and what are they asking us about, and kind of prioritizing the answers based on that as well.
Is there a way that, or maybe some tool that we could implement to know which customer is or set like a priority list to which customer we should respond to?
Yeah, so for example, that's something you can do with Gorgeous. We have integrations with e-commerce platforms like Shopify, Magento, and BigCommerce. And when someone sends you an email, when right away you can see the number of orders they placed, how much money they spent with you, and we can create a rule in Gorgeous that will say, okay, when we have a new message, if it's coming from a customer that placed more than 10 orders with us or more than 1,000 euros or whatever, then we'll add the tag VIP or important customers, and we can put it in a specific folder or view to make sure the team prioritizes it. Or we could also assign all the tickets from those VIP customer to a specific person. But yeah, we do have a way to see this. And because of the deep integration with platforms like Shopify, for example, we can prioritize the tickets based on the information we get from those platforms. It could be based on the Shopify tag. If we add a tag about a specific customer, it could be based on the country. So there's different criteria that we can do. And that's why it's useful to have a customer service solution that integrates with the e-commerce platform that you're using, because you can then really prioritize this incoming request, something that you would not really be able to do if you just use your emails or a tool that is not made for e-commerce, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. All right. So, how to balance automation and personalization? Can automated customer service even feel personalized? We've all been there. Waiting for our order. Will it come before Christmas? Will it come before And you get a weird response. Tell me a little bit more about this.
Yeah, that's a good example and a good question. I think we all had also pretty bad experiences with chatbots where like they tell they don't understand or they send you some random articles that have nothing to do with what you wanted to ask in the first place, and you just want to speak to someone, right? um, so it is possible to balance automation and personalization. It also depends on what kind of customer experience you're trying to provide as a brand. And I want to start by saying that automation does not necessarily mean automating the replies to customers. It could be identifying what the message is about internally. It could be assigning the ticket to a team member, having a macro ready to be sent with some variables from different tools pulled in the macro. And macros, for example, are a great way to automate part of the answer and still personalize it. So you could have a macro, let's say someone wants to change the shipping address. Well, you can have a macro with a variable, hey, customer first name, am I right? Understanding that you want to change the address, insert the address that we had on file. And by sending this macro, you can have a personalized and partly automated experience for the customer without even the customer finding out about it. So it could be, of course, also in terms of the auto responses. And I think that's where you want to be careful by sending automated replies, is that it can feel impersonal, and if it's not the right type of content, it can be frustrating for customers. But you could do, for example, something only outside of business hours. So let's say outside of business hours and on weekend, if someone is asking me about where is my order, for example, with Gorgias, what we can do is, let's say we have this message outside of business hours. Someone is asking me, where is my order? We can create a rule that says, if someone is asking this outside of business hours, then if we have the tracking number and the shipping status of the order available, we can send it automatically to the customer. If we don't have it, we can just send a generic template that says, hey, you seem to be asking about where is your order. Please confirm the information or our team will get back to you. So it's still like somewhat personalized, but also you manage the expectations. Or you could be like, hey, we understand that you may be inquiring about this. Here's an article. If that doesn't help, let us know and we'll get back to you. So I think it's a balance to find as well, but it can be done with some tools that can really help you automate a lot of the things and personalize the answers through integrations with the different tools that you're using that store your customer data, so you can really be proactive with these kind of messages.
All right. Okay. So it is quite important to personalize. So maybe jumping into my next question, what are the most common questions that customers are asking e-commerce resellers, merchants, vendors in order to maybe prepare such a template, for the future?
Yeah, sure. And because at Gorgeous we want to help merchants provide great customer service, we actually did research on what the customers of our customers are asking them, because we have more than 10,000 customers and we have an AI that analyzes the intentions and sentiments of the messages. So in Gorgeous, you can know automatically what people are asking you, and based on the result of this analysis, we have found that actually 33% of queries and questions are pre-sales questions. So these are questions such as, do you ship to this country? Do you have this color? Which shade or color do you recommend me? Some people generally asking questions before placing an order. And I found this super interesting because when you think about customer service, you think about people complaining about a product, asking about where is my order. Don't get me wrong, you have a lot of these questions, but the majority of people reaching out are actually reaching out with pre-sales questions. So one thing that is very interesting, that's 33% of questions. Then about 18% of questions are shipping status questions, like where is my order? I haven't received my order, and then the typical issues, refunds, returns, and things like that. So I would say that 33% pre-sales questions, and then the majority are after-sale questions, like exchanges, cancellations, things like that. So of
So
course, Yeah.
Yeah, so to like put yourself in the customer's shoes before they want to even make the purchase would be a good idea as well, to think about that, because I think a lot of people think about the after post purchasing things that might arise, but even I wouldn't think that before purchasing I asked so many questions.
Yeah, exactly. And so you may think, okay, let's have a template for where's my order and things like this. But actually, you may have a template about advising consumers on which is the best product to buy, about where do we ship, or you can buy two, yeah, sizes, colors. You can buy two, get one free. You can also have some macros with discount codes for your support team, because at the end of the day, support is also one of the only points of contact that you actually have with customers when they expect to actually speak to you. It's not like marketing where you push an ad or a notification to them. They actually want to engage and expect you to get back to them. So when they ask a pre-sale question, it's a great opportunity for the team to do some upselling as well. So yeah, having visibility on what people are asking you is great. And then you can also, on top of anticipating the pre-sales questions, you can update your FAQ, you can update your product descriptions, just to make sure that next time the customers can find the information by themselves instead of asking you some things that may not add you a lot of value, for example.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Um all right. So coming to like my last one, how can brands generate more sales? Which, you know, more sales equals more money, monetization, right? Higher revenue. So through customer support.
So there's
Some
a lot
tips
of
maybe
ways
here.
to. Sorry?
Maybe some tips here you could give.
Yeah, definitely. So that there's lots of ways to do this, and I think there's a kind of a life cycle for brands that start really focusing and investing in customer service. The first one, as I mentioned earlier, is to centralize the channels in one place, so you have visibility on on which channels people are asking questions on, then identifying what people are asking you. And once you are in this situation, what you want to do is free up as much time as possible for the support team to actually focus on inquiries that will bring you money or that you really need to solve. So freeing some time for your team can be done through the automations. So as I mentioned, tagging the tickets to know what people are asking you, making sure that you have some macros for the most common use cases so you can answer to customers in seconds instead of taking minutes. We mentioned self-service and chat. Self-service is a great way to generate sales, because if someone, for example, wants to track an order or make a return request, well, if you have a chat that lets customers check that information and do this request, then you don't have to handle it manually. Nobody has to look in that question, and your team has more time to then prioritize other types of requests. Um, and once you are in a position where the team is well organized, you have some automated processes, you have some self service, and your team is saving some time, then you can be a bit more proactive. You can take a bit more time to build a strong relationship with someone that seems to love your brand, to be proactive, letting someone know about their order because you know it's been late for 2 days, and you want to apologize and maybe send them a discount code. It could be doing a chat campaign, for example, that we can do with Gorgias, is a pop-up window on your website. So you can do pop-up windows on product pages that will display after a certain amount of time. And it could be something like, hey, we see that you're looking at this product. If you need some help choosing the size or the color, our team is ready to help. And whenever someone will engage with those chat campaigns, then you can treat them as a priority because you know it's someone who is browsing your website and who is asking a question about a specific product. Um, and I think also a great way to move the needle on top of being more efficient, having more visibility on what people are asking you and prioritizing things. It's educating and incentivizing the support team on doing upsells and cross sales. So that means maybe giving a discount code that team members can sell, or making sure that when they're speaking to someone, they tell them about this great offer that you're running, or that when they are giving advice to customers, well, your team either creates the order directly for the customer as a draft, or they do anything to really help converting the sale. So once you are in a position where you have visibility on things, it's well organized, automated, your team has a bit more time, then they can be more proactive. And that's when you can really get back to people very quickly on chat and SMS, for example. An interesting metric about this is that 28% of pre-sale chats or SMS messages that are replied in less than 10 minutes will convert in a sale. So when you are in a position to answer very quickly to your customers, that's when you're going to be able to generate a lot more revenue through customer support. Yeah, definitely. And also advantages compared to your competition. I don't know if it ever happened to you to send a message to two different brands about a similar product, but if you don't get an answer from one brand, then you're definitely more likely to
I
just buy
literally
from the
had
other one.
I literally had an example like that. Wanted to buy some like really cool sweatpants, and just due to the fact that the communication was going so bad after 3 weeks, I asked for a refund. However, quite recently I bought a coffee machine, and the company sent me, oh, maybe you would like to buy coffee for a good price as well. I'm like, yeah, I need coffee for my coffee machine, and I ended up purchasing 2 bags of coffee additionally. So yeah, it does make a lot of sense. So I guess education, yes, and knowing your customer would be the best here, right?
Yeah, knowing your customer and making sure that you can free up some time for your team. Like, for example, there's no point spending 2 hours per day answering questions like, where is my order? If you can automate that through either, oh, I changed something with my speakers, but it should be okay. But yeah, if you can have something like self-service or a chat to answer those common questions and save your time for your team, then of course they have a lot more time to answer these kind of things. Because the reason why you didn't get an answer from the brands you were talking about is probably because the support team had too much on their plate and they just didn't have time to look into your requests. Um, but yeah, and actually, 84% of shoppers are willing to spend more to get better customer service and a better experience, which of course we don't like any frustration, any conversations that are not going the way you want, brands that are not answering you, that are unreliable. So you would rather just pay a bit extra for a brand that you know will get back to you, will take care of you, and that's pretty much valued by customers more and more these days, and something that
Hey,
customers,
we all like
that
to
brands
feel
should pay a lot of
special,
attention to.
right? We like to.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And the more you spend with the brand, the more they should make an effort to make you feel special. So a brand should be able to identify big buyers versus first time buyers when they engage with them. Because if I'm spending a lot of money every month on your brand, I definitely expect you to get back to me quicker than any other customer. So that's also something important to look into.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was really interesting. I guess this is all I prepared for today. Thank you once again for coming, joining here, and discussing time, I guess, because time is money. Now we know for sure. For our listeners, if anybody would have any questions regarding today's topic or would want to find out more how to save your time, how to improve your customer support, please reach out to Yohan. Yohan, could you tell our listeners where they can get in touch with you? Maybe an email?
Yeah, definitely. Email works fine. Yohan, Yohan, at Gorgias, Gorgias.com. Otherwise, LinkedIn is great. Yohan, Yohan Lawyer, Loyer. And yeah, more than happy to discuss anything customer experience, customer service with any of the attendees if they want to know more about Gorgias, but also about other tools, how we compare with them, speak to some of our customers, anything that I can do to help. I'm more than happy to. And if someone wants to try out Gorgias, we can offer the second and third month for free for anyone listening to the podcast. And if people have another customer service solution, we can also buy back the contract to help them move to Gorgias if they're interested. So you know where to find
Sounds
me if you
great.
have any questions. And yeah, just mention the podcast when you reach out, and I can
For
sort
sure.
that out for you.
Great. So thank you so much once again. See you, or rather, hear from you in the next episode. Thanks.
Thank you so
Bye.
much for having me. Bye bye.